It was either late 2004 or early 2005, somewhere in there, but I remember sitting in the waiting room for my orthodontist appointment and then going to the magazine rack and picking up a Sports Illustrated for Kids. And the first page I opened to, there was this tiny blurb on the bottom of the page that read, MLS expansion. 2 new teams, Real Salt Lake and Chivas USA. Now, we had taken a family ski trip vacation to Salt Lake City a few years back, just before the '02 Olympic Games, and I thought it was awesome that Salt Lake City was getting their own soccer team. But Chivas USA, now that confused me, because Chivas, what does that mean? I've never heard of that city. But then I remembered, oh yeah, Chivas, they're a Mexican team, and the MLS All-Stars played Chivas one year. Now, I was a kid back then, and the way my stupid little brain interpreted it was that Chivas team was joining MLS, which, I know, it sounds dumb, but I was really confused back then. Actually, all these years later, I'm still kind of confused. Because Chivas USA is one of the weirdest chapters of the MLS story. You know what? Hold on a second, this doesn't feel right. That's better. It all starts with this guy, Jorge Vergara. I've seen Google describe him as a Mexican businessman, but that's really selling him short. He went from selling tacos on the streets of Guadalajara to selling condominiums to smuggling Herbalife products across the border, yeah, the same company on the front of the Galaxy jerseys, to founding his own health product company, Grupo OmniLife, to becoming a film producer. Wait, hold on, what? Yeah, before he was owning and running soccer teams, he was a film producer, and a pretty legit one, being named by Variety magazine one of the 10 movie producers to watch in 2002, after his success with the movie Y Tu Mama Tambien. Side note, I had to watch that movie as part of a college class. It's interesting. I'll leave it at that. If you don't want to watch the movie, just read the plot synopsis and you'll know what I'm talking about. And then in 2002, he bought Chivas, a historic club in Mexico, but one where the golden era of the 50s and 60s, where they won 8 titles in 14 years, were long gone. Since winning the league title in 1969-1970, Chivas had only won 2 more titles since then, in 86-87 and Verano 1997. And the team was also badly in debt. But Vergara didn't just want to return to winning in Mexico. No, he had much higher aspirations for Chivas, both on and off the field. He wanted Chivas to reach levels they've never reached before. He didn't just want to be the biggest brand in Mexico. No, I think he wanted to be mentioned in the same sentence as Manchester United and Barcelona. He wanted Chivas to be among the biggest clubs in the world. So one of the first things he did to promote the Chivas brand was enter MLS. After his Chivas squad played in the MLS All-Star Game in '03, he announced in '04 that Chivas would be forming a sister club that would be playing in Los Angeles, dubbed Chivas USA. Now, I think it's easy to fast forward to the end and see that Chivas USA clearly doesn't work out, and then laugh and cringe at that team and also Vergara, but if we could just pause for a second and recognize his ambition. I mean, here's a local guy just trying to make the Chivas brand an international power. Yeah, it didn't work out for Chivas USA, but damn, you gotta give the guy props for trying. And I think a lot of people forget just how good this team was in the first 5 years of existence. Well, okay, not the first year, 2005. They were legitimately awful that first season. In the discussion of worst MLS team ever, with just 4 wins, 6 draws, and 22 losses. Their top goal scorer that year, Hector Cuadros, with just 4 goals. And a 21-year-old Brad Guzan, still with hair, gave up 46 goals in 23 games, which, honestly, given how bad the rest of the team was wasn't horrible. 2006, their second season, the team hires Bob Bradley as head coach. Yeah, that Bob Bradley. He leads them to 11 wins, a playoff spot, and he wins Coach of the Year. 2 years in, they were doing better than their expansion brother, RSL. But they did get knocked out in the first round of the playoffs by eventual champs, Houston Dynamo. 2007, year 3, was their best year yet. Bob Bradley leaves for the U.S. men's national team, and in comes MLS legend Preki as the new head coach. They finished that season with 53 points, which was not just first in the West, but just 2 points behind the Supporters' Shield winner, DC United. Yes, Chivas USA were just 2 points away from a Supporters' Shield. It also meant that when David Beckham joined the LA Galaxy, at the time, he joined the second best team in LA. But once again, Chivas couldn't get it done in the playoffs, losing in the first round 1-0 by a long-range free kick goal to Kurt Anolfo and the Kansas City Wizards. Now, how do you finish second overall in the standings and then lose to Kurt Anolfo? Like, what? Chivas USA would make the playoffs again in 08 and 09, but again, be knocked out in the first round. So, yeah, this team never got it done in the playoffs. But let's not totally discredit how much talent was on this team. I already mentioned Brad Guzan, but Chivas USA also started the careers of Sasha Kleshtin and Jonathan Bornstein, and finished the careers of Jesse Marsh, Ante Razov, Zach Thornton, and Claudio Suarez. And we can't forget about Francisco Palencia. I mean, dude was a beast. He finished his career in Liga MX after playing for Chivas USA. Oh, and can't forget about the current Chicago Fire head coach, Rafael Wicki. He played for Chivas USA, even if it was only for 5 games. After 2009, Chivas USA never made the playoffs again, and there was a noticeable drop in talent on the roster. It seemed like every big name they tried to bring over ended up kind of flopping in the end. Juan Pablo Angel, Juan Agudelo, yes, he was a big name back in the day. Alejandro Moreno, I mean, that's kind of a big name. Okay, so there weren't that many big names that came over, but even still, the ones that did come over, none of them really panned out. But they did have Cubo Torres at the end, and he was awesome. The managers, yeah, none of them really worked out either after Preki. In the 10 years that Chivas USA was a thing, they had 11 different managers. Now, actually, Vergara had the same issue with Chivas Guadalajara. He changed coaches 28 times in 17 years. Yeah, Chivas coach, not exactly the most stable job out on the market. And that's a very legitimate gripe on Vergara as an owner. There's a reason he only won 2 league titles with Chivas Guadalajara, Apertura 2006 and Clausura 2017. And a couple Copa MX titles, and a CONCACAF Champions League. But Chivas, they were never the powerhouse, the true giants of Mexico, as he had envisioned. Because, I mean, how can you possibly be consistently good when you consistently change managers? It just doesn't work. Same deal with Chivas USA. But a couple losing seasons and a revolving door of head coaches, that's not why Chivas USA folded. I believe this team was doomed from the start because their whole concept was flawed. And it's not for lack of effort by Vergara. I mean, he hung up multiple billboards across Los Angeles advertising for Chivas USA, but it didn't matter. And it wouldn't have mattered if Chivas won an MLS Cup or a couple supporter shields or whatever. Because Chivas was always going to be the second most popular team in LA after the Galaxy. And they would have instantly become the third most popular team if LA would have gotten a third professional soccer team. Yeah, it's announced as a sister club, but come on, we all know what it really is. It was a minor league team. And finding support for a minor league team and a top division league, well, that's gonna be pretty tough to do. I know, NYCFC and Manchester City, they have similarities to Chivas USA and Chivas Guadalajara, but at least NYCFC still have their own identity. And it is important to note that Chivas wasn't that bad in attendance as far as MLS is concerned. In the years they made the playoffs, 06 to 09, they averaged over 16,000 fans for the regular season and over 19,000 fans for playoff games. It wasn't until 2013 that the attendance started to free fall. And after that season, MLS bought Chivas USA from Vergara and began looking for buyers. But there weren't any takers. Honestly, I don't think they were looking too hard. On October 27th, 2014, Chivas USA had officially ceased operations and went out of business. The last season, they only averaged over 7,000 fans, and that's if the numbers are accurate, which, well, we all know they're not accurate all the time. That's kind of the last image we see of them. That's how a lot of us remember Chivas USA. A bad team playing in an empty stadium, but it wasn't always that bad. However, do I think they hit their peak? Yeah, I do. There is absolutely no shot this team would have ever overtaken the Galaxy in LA, and there's no chance they would be filling up that stadium. You see, Chivas USA had a philosophy. They wanted to win over the Latino population in Los Angeles. That was their target audience. Coming from Chivas, it's really not that big of a surprise because Chivas Guadalajara only has Mexican players on their team. And Chivas USA, while it's not as strict as only having Mexican players, they did tend to feature more Latino players than other clubs in Major League Soccer. Now, I know this is going to be my controversial hot take for the video, and I really hope I don't lose any subscribers over this, but I'm just going to come right out and say it. Chivas USA specifically targeting the Latino population for their fan base is not that bad of an idea. The Hispanic and Latino populations make up nearly 50% of the total population in Los Angeles. Winning over that demographic, and you can be the most popular team in LA. Now, firing youth coaches for not being Latinos, saying if you don't speak Spanish, go coach the Galaxy, and causing a big lawsuit, no. I am not for that. I don't think it's a bad strategy by either Vergara or MLS to target this demographic. I don't think it's racist or disparaging. I mean, again, like firing youth coaches for not being Latino, yes, that's discriminatory. No, I don't agree with that. But just targeting a fan base? No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. In fact, I think that's a good business move. But the problem with this strategy is when you call yourselves Chivas USA. Because what happens if you're a Club America supporter, or a Toluca supporter, or a Pachuca supporter, or a Monterrey supporter, or a Tigres supporter, or a Okay, you get my point. It's not a stretch for me to say if you are Mexican and you are a soccer fan, there's a good chance you're already a supporter of a Liga MX team. And that's fine. People follow multiple leagues. People support teams from different leagues all the time. But if you are interested in supporting an MLS team, are you gonna support one of your rivals from Liga MX?
Oh, hell no!
Probably not. Chivas USA could not possibly win over the Latino population because the name Chivas alienated every other fan base of Liga MX teams. And even though Chivas Guadalajara has a massive fan base all across the United States, it's not guaranteed that they would all be Chivas USA fans. Because again, Chivas USA is a minor league team. It's like, okay, I'm a basketball fan. I'm a huge Milwaukee Bucks fan. Giannis is the GOAT, knuck if you buck, let it fly, fear the deer. But like, I have never once watched the Wisconsin Herd, the NBA G League affiliate for the Milwaukee Bucks. Because like, I don't know, I've never wanted to. Like, I guess I've just always had other things to do than to watch minor league basketball. And I know I'm not the only one like this. Just look at the attendances for MLS 2 sides in USL. They're not exactly spectacular. But Vergara's whole plan was to promote the Chivas brand, so of course it wasn't going to be called anything else. You know, it's one of those things where you say it out loud, it doesn't sound like that bad of an idea. Yeah, form a sister club in the region's next biggest league. But then you see the plan in action, and then you see it's really obvious that this wasn't a good idea at all and was destined for failure. Now, Vergara has done a lot of things right with the Chivas brand. I mean, since taking it over, he has quintupled the value of this team. And if you don't know what quintupled means, don't worry, I had to look it up too. Basically, the brand is now worth 5 times as much as when he first bought the team in 2002. So yes, he has succeeded in elevating this brand. He has succeeded in making Chivas bigger than it's ever been before. Honestly, I don't know if Chivas USA had any impact on that number. I don't know if Chivas USA really made any new fans of Chivas Guadalajara. With that being said, do I feel bad about the fans of Chivas USA that lost their team? Yeah, I do. I feel awful for them. But it's kinda awkward. I mean, anytime a city is threatened with losing a team, whether it be by contraction or by relocation, it's gonna cause a lot of drama. I mean, think about the absolute firestorm that Anthony Precourt faced from not just Columbus fans, not just fans from every other MLS team, but also all of the media members when he tried to move the crew to Austin. It's incredibly controversial anytime a city might lose their team. But Chivas USA was the only time I have ever seen in any sport where the overwhelming majority of fans across the league were in favor of contracting the club. People did not want Chivas USA in MLS. And I think it's because most people just didn't like the feeling of having a minor league team in the top division playing in front of less than 8,000 fans in the same stadium as another team that averages over 20,000 fans in the second largest market of the US. I mean, how is MLS supposed to catch up to Liga MX when MLS has minor league teams of Liga MX? I'll say it again. Chivas USA was a weird chapter in MLS. The Super Clasico? Pretty entertaining. It had its moments. I think El Tráfico is better, as I think pretty much everything else about LAFC is better than Chivas USA. So, yeah, I think it was definitely the right call to close up shop on the GOATs. And so I say, rest in peace, Chivas USA. And also rest in peace, Jorge Vergara. He passed away November 2019 in New York City from a heart attack. While his experiment in Major League Soccer may have fallen a bit short, no one can deny the impact he's had on Chivas Guadalajara, and he will be remembered forever. I hope you enjoyed the video. Since starting this YouTube channel about a year ago, Rest in Peace Chivas USA has been the most requested video topic, so I'm glad to have finally gotten to it. And remember, if you're an MLS fan or just curious to find out more about the league, subscribe for more MLS content, and let me know what you want to see a video on in the future. And thank you for watching.